change the shocks, the back shocks, on an 03 Liberty. I'm going to do it without taking the back tire off. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack the vehicle up first, and all you're going to need for this job is a jack. I'm going to use a 4x4 to distribute the load a little bit more. That way I get a little bit more height. I got a ratchet here with a 15 mil socket, and I've got a 15 mil socket here, or a ratchet wrench, and an 18 mil ratchet wrench, and of course I got a small little piece, little cutters, and I'll show you what we're going to do with that in a little bit. But anyway, we'll get down here and I'll show you what I'm going to do with this jack. I'm just going to get under, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put it under here. And the only reason why I'm putting the 4x4 is to distribute the load a little bit more. That's going to hold that. Now, I'm just going to jack it up, and I'll show you the reason why I'm doing this. It's because once I'm doing that, up here, over here where my hand is, you're going to see this bolt. Now, unless you jack it up, this bolt you're not going to be able to get at because it's going to be fighting behind the tire. So all we're going to do is we're going to jack this up just enough that I can get at that bolt. A little bit more. There we go. Okay, so this is where I'm going to take my ratchet, put it on this one socket, and I'm going to take this off. It should come off pretty, not too bad. So I'm going to take this up. I'm going to take this right out. Now remember, when you're doing this, the bolts, one bolt on top, one bolt on the bottom, they're different lengths. The longest one goes in the top, and there's a tapered end on it. And that's so it helps to guide it through, because the bolt is actually part of the frame. So you don't have to worry about a nut on the back of this bolt. And that should come out there. So it's in pretty good shape. You're going to see the taperness of it right here. So that helps once it goes in the hole. It's a little bit easier because that taper allows it lined up, and it's less likely to cross thread. And I don't think it'll cross thread anyway. But we'll deal with that in a minute. Now on the bottom here, if we want to move to the back of the Jeep, I'm going to get underneath the back here. You're going to see right here where my fingers are. The outside one is an 18 millimeter wrench or nut, and the inside is a 15. So that's the other end of the shock. So I'm going to take them off now, and hopefully I get these on right. And this is why I don't want to take the tire off, because I don't have to. So it's just that extra little bit that I just don't have to do. So, you know, why bother with all that? Let's see if I can break this loose. There we go. Get this one back down here. Take me a second here to do it. Kind of hard with the camera. That's okay. There, I got it. So, get the branch off. Take that nut off. Now remember, the nut goes to the inside of the vehicle, okay? That way you don't have this rubbing on the inside. That's the way the factory wants it done, so just pay attention to that. This one should slip right out. There it goes. Now, like I said before, this one, the other side, was dead. It was really bad. This one here is probably still okay, but I'm going to change them in pairs, so that's what I do. But anyway, this is the shorter one. So remember, this one goes in the bottom, and the nut goes on the inside. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to see if I can slip. There it goes. Now, in order to get this out, I'm going to have to collapse this and pull it out, because your emergency brake cable on the other side, it has to go between the axle and the emergency brake cable. So let's see if I can get it out this way. Okay, so there, that one's out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one out. This one's kind of crusty and messed up. The other one was really bad. It was leaking. This one's not leaking. But like I say, you know, if I'm going to change it, I'm going to do it in pairs. So let's move to the back seat, and I'll show you what I got in here. So in the back seat, what I got is Monroe OES Spectrum shocks and struts. These are the ones that I'm doing. They're guaranteed for life. There's your master number right there. That's the order number. So anyway, let's take this out of the box. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, so there's the shock. Okay, now what we're going to do is this little strap here, this blue strap, we're going to leave this on. I'm going to cut this off at last. And the reason is because if I cut this off, it's going to extend. And it's really hard to compress it when we get underneath. So this is actually going to help us because we're leaving the tire on. So anyway, we're going to crawl back underneath the vehicle. And I'm going to put this in. So,